YouTube, what's good? It's your boy, Kamala Harris, aka the Crazy Uncle. Hey, guess what? It's your first time tuning in. Go ahead, hit the doggone subscribe button. Hit notification bell every time I post some new content. Well, people, the title says it all. Uh, Apparently, since Kamala Harris, or Karma all over her face Harris, is walking for president. So the question, so now the $64,000 question is come up once again. Reparations for slavery. And just like most politicians, they duck, bob, and weave their way out of answering this question. And it's quite obvious of why they keep duck, bobbing, and weaving from this question. And it's quite obvious there's a lot of you motherfuckers out there. It's quite obvious y'all don't know what the fuck going on either, because if you go back and look at history, even his story has to tell the truth every once in a while. And all the reason why I say that, let's take it back as far as like 1492. When they said that Christopher Columbus come over here to discover the new world, only to find out that we were already over here. So from 1492 until 1619, right? So what is that? That's like about, let's see, 15. Yeah, so that's like roughly 130 years and change. Give or take a year or two off, right? So I'm just trying to figure out, right, what happened between that time frame, right? And for y'all to be asking for reparations, when Christopher Columbus came over here and saw us. So what are y'all? So for me, I'm like, what are y'all asking for? Is it because of what the fuck they told you in school? They lied to you in school, and you believe that shit. And it's quite, like I say, I hate to sound like a broke ass record, but it's quite obvious that a lot of y'all ain't going back, looking at your family records, looking at the family tree, whatever the hell it is that you actually really want to call it, right? And it's almost like half. Well, I won't even. At this point, I won't even say half. Let's just say like a third of us, and that could be extremely generous. So let's just say that a third of us know what the fuck is going on. Just because you so-called black don't mean that your ass came from Africa. And then just for the simple fact, Africa is a continent, not a country. Dan Calloway brought that to everybody's attention a few years back, and he's still been doing it. So for me, right, I'm still like, the fuck y'all asking for? Like, seriously, right? I mean, a lot of y'all getting, put like this, a lot of y'all get them goddamn counter checks in the motherfucking way. Now, I know somebody gonna sit up here and say, oh, so you just want us to accept shit the way that we are. No, I'm not saying that. My whole deal is, if you gonna call yourself dude, put like this, ask motherfucking questions. Ask your grandma. And when I say grandma, I'm talking about somebody that's over the age of motherfucking 50. Because 9 times out of 10, unless they done did some real serious research, they don't even fucking know. So for the most part, you're gonna have to go to your great grandparents that are in their 60s and 70s, where that they can actually really tell you whether your ass came off the boat or that if your ass was already here. And but just know this, people. Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, President Biden, even Trump when he was in office, just know all of these motherfucking presidents, they already know the real deal of what happened as far as like slavery goes. And then you could almost go back and look at the simple fact, if you look at the early years of the United States Congress, it was black people in the Congress. Now, you know, what his name, that Harold Navels, I think if I pronounce his name right, he was like one of the first black men or Native American to, and I really don't like using the word Native American because we were here before this shit was even called America, right? But in either case, considering when slavery ended, right? Because the guy I'm watching now, you know, they're saying from 1619 to 1865. So you got to know this. So when he did this, he helped in 1870. So that's depending on the month and year slavery ended, and then depending on what month in 1870 did he actually really take that position in office. You can't just sit up there and say, okay, well, that's 5 years. You can't say that. But in either case, you also got to stop and think about it. Okay, he was born during so-called slavery times, right? So again, you know, I'm steady going. I'm asking the question. You know, people talking about, okay, well, they owe us for reparations, right? Okay, first and foremost, just think about it. Let's just look at it like this. And I know I said this once before, right? Okay, say they gonna be like, okay, well, look, we gonna give reparations to all African Americans, right? And then you know what the fuck proof they gonna want? They gonna be like, okay, well, who is your grandfather? Who was your great grandfather's name? Who were your great grandparents? What were their names? When were they born? All right. And then for some of you motherfuckers, y'all can only go back so far. And then guess what the fuck they finna say to y'all? Well, guess what? You can't prove it, so guess what? You ain't finna get no money. But then again, say that you can prove it, right? So you finna take some motherfucking hush money? Because basically that's all what the fuck it is, right? So in a sense, I could be like, you know, what her name? Kamala, come all over her face. You know, you could be like, okay, in a sense, I can see where she's coming from. And then again, I'm just looking at some fact, okay, well, the fuck with slavery. What about what has been happening, you know, say like for the past 100 years or whatever, or even longer than that, right? So like I say, people, everybody black, then, you know, stop sitting there talking about, well, my great grandmother was a slave, or my great grandfather was a slave. No, the fuck they wasn't, because I'm here to tell you, right? I met my great grandmother, right? And she didn't say nothing about slavery. All what the fuck they said, they went to work, you know, they either went to work or they went to out the cotton field or whatever. That is not slavery, people. If anything, it's sharecropping, but you know, that is not motherfucking slavery, right? Now I get it. Everybody doesn't have that. Didn't have that privilege to see who they great grandparents were. You know, I was just fortunate enough to act like, okay, you know, I met my great grandmother, right? And just like I said, you know what, my great grandmother, my great aunt, and hell, they were sisters, right? And you know, not one time did they say anything about motherfucking slavery. So I'm just like, so even if the bill was to be passed, right? Y'all get that money to somebody else, because I'm not African American, right? Africa is a continent, people. So y'all like, hey, take that shit somewhere else, you know? But like I said, if they pass the law, a lot of you motherfuckers finna get pissed off. Even if that bitch say, yeah, I'm for it. Watch y'all not get no money. Then you sure not gonna be mad. You gonna be like, they lying. No, they ain't. Shit, they know this shit better than you do. So that's my spiel. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell Big Dad, tell Big Bertha, your uncle, your aunt, and your grandma, your papa. Motherfucker next door, cross the street, round the corner. Follows Harris, aka Crazy Uncle. I'm gonna holler at y'all.